This is not a fairy tale. This is not a story for children. This is the chronicle of a dead soul. And so, in the beginning, there was the Word.
No. In this story, in the beginning there was wood, an ordinary piece of dead matter, meant for the fireplace, to burn, to give a little warmth and turn into ash. This is the fate of most people, to be firewood for history. We are used to thinking of Pinocchio as a sweet children's fairy tale, popularized by Disney. Songs, dances, a cricket with a conscience. But Carlo Collodi did not write a fairy tale. He wrote a horror story. Few people know that in the original version of the book, there was no fairy at all. At the end of the first manuscript, Pinocchio was hanged on an oak tree. The robbers threw a noose around his wooden neck, and he swayed in the cold wind until he stiffened. The end. No real boy, only the corpse of a puppet. Why was the author so cruel? Because he knew a terrifying thing, one that modern culture prefers not to see. Collodi presents the human being not as a finished soul, but as raw material, as a puppet. And for a soul to appear, the path inevitably leads through hell. Look at the father. In the Italian original, his name is Geppetto, a diminutive of Giuseppe. Giuseppe, or Joseph, another carpenter, with a non-biological son. The biblical allusion is not accidental, but here it is turned inside out. If Christ is the Son of God who descended into matter to save it, then Pinocchio is matter trying to become a son. He is a golem. He is made, but he is not alive. Look at his behavior. He is cruel, lazy, self-centered. His first steps? He learns to walk only to run away from the Father. Here, Collodi formulates the true original sin. Not the apple, but the escape. The rejection of the Creator in exchange for an illusion of freedom. But the freedom of a puppet is a lie. The moment you cut the strings of the Father, you immediately fall under the strings of other puppeteers. And who picks up this runaway puppet? The fox and the cat. They are not just fairy tale tricksters. They are demons of the material world. Translated into the language of the 21st century, they are archetypal success coaches. Look at the situation. Pinocchio is on his way to school. He carries his primer, a symbol of knowledge and labor. And what do the fox and the cat say to him? Why do you need to study? Look at us. We don't work, yet we are free. And immediately, an offer. Want your 5 gold coins to turn into 100? Overnight. This is how the field of miracles appears, a perfect metaphor for any financial pyramid, crypto scam, or manifestation marathon. The mechanism is extremely simple. Investment, bury everything you have. Ritual, sprinkle salt and say meaningless words. Crex, fex, pex. An affirmation. Inaction, go to sleep. Do not work. Wait for a miracle. Pinocchio believes. Why? Because he is infantile. He believes in shortcuts. And anyone who believes that a tree can grow money without labor inevitably turns into a donkey. In the book, this is shown literally. Pleasure Island is a world of endless consumption. You eat, drink, entertain yourself, think of nothing. And one day you wake up with ears and hooves. You are harnessed. You are taken to the market. A human being, in whom spirit does not form, inevitably regresses to the level of livestock. But this story has a bottom. And to be saved, Pinocchio must reach it. He loses everything: money, freedom, human form. And then he throws himself into the sea, into chaos. A monster swallows him. In the original text, it is il terribile pesce cane, the terrible shark. In later versions, a whale. This is a direct reference to the prophet Jonah. This is a tomb. This is alchemical nigredo, the stage of decay and darkness. Inside the monster it is dark, damp, and frightening. This is the moment the ego dies. It is here that Pinocchio finds the father. Myth always places the meeting with the father at the lowest point of human despair. And here the break occurs. Pinocchio stops pitying himself. He lifts the old man onto his shoulders. He swims against the current, through the jaws of the beast, back toward the light. This is metanoia. The puppet dies at the moment it begins to live not for itself. The ending of the book is brilliant. Pinocchio wakes up human. But look into the corner of the room. There, on a chair, lies the wooden puppet. It did not disappear. It was not destroyed. It remained. Because the ego is not an enemy. It is a tool. Throughout the story, the puppet tried to be the master. It sulked, demanded, craved power. But at the moment of awakening, it takes its place, becoming just a form, a spacesuit for the soul. You may call your ego the devil, but remember, even the devil is only a step. Collodi leaves us with a simple thought. If there were no wind, trees would grow rotten from the start. Wood becomes strong and flexible only because it resists pressure for a lifetime. Without storms and predators, Pinocchio would have remained nothing more than soft timber. Resistance is not a punishment. It is the technology of soul-making. Look in the mirror. Look at your puppet. Thank it for making you stronger. And then put it in its place.
You have heard everything. Pinocchio's story is finished. But yours is not. The next chapter depends only on whom you choose to listen to. The Scriptorium knows the truth. Now you know it too. Carry it well.